We're standing up for team.
No, I'm not.
And it's
Listen to me.
yes,
I've tried to give you several opportunities to fix the problem. That's it.
It was nothing wrong. It's fixed.
Every time I think we hit the bottom of the barrel in this country in terms of stupid race hoaxes, things just happen to get even stupider. And today's example is the perfect example of people inventing racism out of nowhere, and of course, that potentially leading to dire consequences for the person victimized by these race hustlers. Today we're going to talk about this viral video of a soccer referee being chased out of the stadium, yelled at by two black mothers because supposedly this soccer referee did a racism by telling the parents that their kids needed to follow the rules just like every other kid. Apparently, not letting your kids injure other kids during a youth soccer game is now the new form of racism. We often talk about the misalignment with the supply of evil white racists, which just happens to be not all that many people, and the demand for evil white racists, and this is the perfect example of that. But before we get into this any further, let me just say this video is sponsored, so let's toss it for a quick ad read, bring it back over here, and we'll talk about it on the other side. Noble Gold Investments is proud to let you know that gold was among the best investment classes in 2022. Whether it was stocks, real estate, crypto, gold outperformed them all. So what are you waiting for? Go over and visit noblegoldinvestments.com. They've helped thousands of people buy physical gold, and they're offering precious metals IRAs so you can help hedge your retirement against inflation. And if you sign up for a qualifying IRA, you will be gifted a 1/4 ounce American Eagle gold coin. It's absolutely wonderful for your collection and your hedging against inflation. Call them at 877-646-5347 or visit them at noblegoldinvestments.com. So the basics of this story are as follows. There was a youth soccer game, girls soccer. So obviously no interest from the public outside of this controversy. And during the course of the game or before the start of the game, or who cares, because I need to emphasize I don't care about girls soccer, it was discovered that two of the girls who happened to be black were wearing beads in their hair. Now, normally, you would think, wow, no big deal, beads in the hair. But the thing is, these people were playing soccer. They were on a soccer field. And when you have things that are hard in your hair that can swing back and forth in a sport that can be a contact sport, this can present a danger to other people. Anybody who's played any kind of youth sports is aware of this fact. In fact, I played Little League Baseball. You know what you couldn't have if you were playing Little League Baseball, specifically if you were a pitcher? Any kind of shiny chain around your neck, because that reflected light made it more difficult for people to see the ball, and that could lead to people getting hit by the ball, and it's an unfair advantage, and all of that. And by the way, these rules not only exist in Little League, but they go all the way up to the major leagues, and it's actually a form of gamesmanship when a manager decides to call out a pitcher and make them take off their chain. It's all fun and games, it's all part of the game, but there is a serious safety issue in relation to these rules, but apparently that serious safety issue needed to be overlooked, because how dare you be an evil white racist and not let my child injure another kid when they both go up for a head ball and those beads smack that other child in the eye? How dare you try to enforce the rules on a black child, because you know there's a long history of racism and oppression in which white referees told black kids they weren't allowed to injure white kids or other kids on the soccer field with beads in their hair. Oh my god, this story's so stupid.
It says swinging, and it's still swinging. It's still swinging. It's still swinging.
It's
still swinging.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No differently than any other girl's ponytail.
What is your information?
The rules you have right there, in my opinion. Listen. Hold on.
Information, sir.
We're done. I'm not arguing.
I mean, seriously, look at what this person titled this video. POV, they wouldn't let the only two black girls on the team play because they had beads in their hair. 4 exclamation points. He even requested that they wear plastic bags on their head. Blow this up. He deserves to be fired. A bunch of exclamation points. So the intent's right there. They spelled it out for you in plain English. The goal is to fire this referee, because how dare this referee try to enforce any kind of rules that would lead to a safer field for all players of all races on that field. I mean, these two girls that both had these stupid beads in their hair could have went up for a head ball at the same time, and one of them could have hit the eye of the other with these swinging beads. But no, that's not acceptable. That's not okay. This is evil white racism because, again, if you remember way back in the slavery days, what white people used to do after they did slavery was say, hey, look, you can't wear beads on a little girl's soccer field because it might injure the eye of another person in our integrated soccer field that went back all the way to slavery times. Isn't this a long history of racism and oppression?
It says swinging, and it's still swinging. It's still swinging. It's still swinging. It's still swinging.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No differently than any other girl's ponytail.
So already, I just want to point out that the people behind the camera are liars, they're disingenuous, they're fraudsters, and by the way, they're trying to raise grift off the fact that they don't expect their kids to follow the rules because their kids are somehow better than everybody else's kids. So this woman, if you heard her, said, well, it's swinging, but it's no different than any other girl's ponytail. Let me play that part for you again.
Yes, it is.
No differently than any other girl's ponytail.
Now, you might be mistaken to believe that this is about the hair being in a ponytail or something like that, but to be clear, no, it is not. This is about the beads in the hair. You can't have anything hard in your hair during the game unless it's covered up in such a way that it won't bat somebody in the eye, and that's what they're talking about swinging. So already, they're 100% dead wrong, and this guy's trying impatiently to explain this to these women, but of course, they're not looking for a reasonable explanation. They're looking to be a victim because, you know what? They might get dragged onto Good Morning America all because the long history of white referees trying to prevent injuries among black children in little girl soccer.
I've tried to give you several opportunities to fix the problem. That's it.
There was nothing wrong.
It's
It's
the only
fixed.
two African American girls on the field. So let's go, Timothy Young, with the rest of the information.
I'm giving it to you. One sec. You guys can leave. The game's over.
I bet it is over because you're caught up with being racist.
No, I'm not racist.
You are.
No, I'm
They're
not.
the only two
I'm not
African American
racist.
girls.
So, as you can see, this guy ended up having to pull the game because the parents are creating such a disruption and they're not following the rules. And obviously, this is a safety issue and it becomes a liability issue if this referee allows this to progress, especially when the parents are just not trying to do anything to mitigate the risk. Also, what an absolutely horrible display for this group of children to see a race grifter in real time try to pretend that a rule being enforced fairly and evenly is somehow evil white racism afoot and therefore should be diagnosed as such, and therefore this video is necessary. It's absolutely disturbing, it's disgusting, and yet again we see piss poor behavior being excused in this country, all because we definitely don't have enough evil white racists for the race hustlers. So they gotta turn this guy into one, even though he did nothing wrong. He tried explaining this to them over and over and over again prior to the video, and he's tried explaining this to her during the course of the video, but unfortunately, these are not good faith actors. They're going after him. They're targeting him racially. This is actually them being racist, them trying to hurt somebody that they don't like because he expected them to follow the rules, and they realize that they have a position of power over him in that he's white, and most people, when they see this video, especially on the left wing, will side with the parents because, oh my god, that long history of Jim Crow, which specifically had laws against you being able to hit other girls in the face during a Little League soccer game with the beads that were in your hair that were swinging. Obviously, this dates all the way back to Jim Crow, all the way back to slavery. It's evil white racism, if I ever did see it. This is what most people on the left wing believe.
So let's go, Timothy Young, with the rest of the information.
I'm giving it to you. One sec. You guys can leave. The game's over.
I bet it is over because you're caught up with being racist.
No, I'm not racist.
You are.
No, I'm
They're
not.
the only two
I'm not
African American
racist.
girls.
No, but it has nothing
They're
to...
the only two African American girls with beads in their hair.
Exactly.
My daughter has been black for 4
Listen
years.
to me.
4
It's
years,
not
sir.
about the color.
4
I didn't
years.
make it
It's
about the
definitely
color.
about the color.
It's about the
only
beads.
people-
So this woman's like, oh, it's the only two African-American girls. It's the only two African-American girls. And he's like, no, it's not about that. And then she ends up slipping up and acknowledging that it's about the swinging beads in this girl's hair. That's what prevents the safety hazard, and she doesn't want to remove them because, again, this is an entitled woman who thinks that everybody needs to bend to her because she was born with the god-tier skin pigmentation that somehow allows her to subvert basic safety rules, ignore the liability issues that this guy's supposed to take on behalf of her daughters, obviously inconveniencing every other player.
Like,
It's about
What's the
the
explanation?
beat.
I'm not arguing
You
with
can
you.
step
What's
up
the
front.
explanation?
But sir, but let me ask you something. Just truly, I understood when you said it was swinging in their face.
Right.
We took a hair ties. We pulled
No,
it back.
and
We
I
don't
know, and
care
I
about
know
who
that,
making
and I
moves.
said,
What's the
take a
information?
couple soft scrunchies and wrap it up. But the one girl came on, and it was still swinging in the back. I need it not to be swinging, period. Soft scrunchies, a wool hat, anything.
So then this person says, hey, look, you said it had to be wrapped. I wrapped it up. And he says, that's totally fine. One of the girls, it's still swinging, so you have to do something to cover it because, again, it's a safety hazard. It's not about the race. In fact, he just said that he would approve the other girl with beads in her hair, but the one girl that has her hair swinging, that's the issue.
Saying rubber. The other little girls had rubber bands in their
And that's
hair.
what I
How
just-
is it different?
But that's what
How is it different?
I just said. You can use scrunchies. You can use
No,
rubber
this is racist.
scrunchies.
This is racist.
Rubber,
Like, you're
rubber
racist.
band, scrunchies, anything so it's not swinging. The one girl came on and it was still swinging.
So then this idiot, this absolute buffoon behind the camera says, oh, these other girls have rubber bands in their hair. How is it different? How is it different? She's screaming into there. And again, it's somebody who is either intentionally race grifting, maybe they've just absorbed the victimhood mentality to an extent that they can never take being wrong in a situation, or they're being deliberately obtuse because obviously the issue is not the hair being in a ponytail or in a rubber band or anything like that. It's about the hard beads that are in the hair that are swinging that, again, pose a safety risk to the other girls on the field because the beads might smack her across the face. And by the way, I've seen so many stupid people talk about how Serena Williams is allowed to wear beads in her hair when she plays tennis. I got a quick question for you, for all of you low IQ people out there that are putting that argument forward. Is Serena Williams likely, during the course of a tennis game, to bump her head against her opponent who is on the other side of the court? That is a non-contact sport. There is possible contact in a soccer game, people going up for a head ball, and that's the issue at hand. This is like saying, oh, well, for some reason, they don't wear helmets on the basketball court, but they wear it in football. It's like, yeah, because in football, you're expected to tackle. They don't wear pads in a basketball game either. Completely different sports, completely different rules. And again, if this little girl would have got her eye hit out, this woman would be the first person to sue over it. She would have looked through the rule book, she would have found it. By the way, this guy presented it to her to make it easy for her to understand, but of course, she still doesn't want to understand it because she's too busy playing victim, she's too busy playing race hustler, and just wants her kid to be able to have her natural God-given right that was fought for in the Civil Rights Act, apparently, to be able to injure other little girls on the soccer field, because we all know that not wanting the kids to injure each other has a long, deep-rooted history in racism and slavery, and it's like basically trying to put chains back on black people across the country. That's the equivalent of what's going on here.
She's anything so it's not swinging. The one girl came on and it was still swinging. That's
Do you
it.
understand how our daughters feel putting plastic
No,
on their hair
I
and
completely,
putting ties
yes.
behind their hair?
So again, he's trying to explain this over and over and over again, but it's not good enough. And she's like, do you understand how our daughters feel about having to put plastic in the hair? What the hell are these beads made of if not plastic? It's like the daughters are offended by the fact that they can't hit other people in the head. You know, as a rule, as a thing, that when you play sports, there are certain standards you have to live up to. You have to wear the proper uniform, and you can't do things that pose a risk of injury to the other kids. It's a basic rule. It's basic safety. I don't understand why these people think they're above the law. Oh wait, I do understand it, because they love playing victim more than they actually like seeing their kids play soccer, which honestly makes a lot of sense. If you had to take your girl to girls soccer, I guarantee you, you're not having a good time. You're not enjoying it. It's not a fun sport, especially when gals play it. So maybe this is more entertaining for her than actually watching her kid play. And by the way, this isn't a situation where there's interpretation or anything like that. The parents are 100% dead in the wrong. They're inaccurate, they're liars, they're spreading misinformation, they're trying to race grift off of it when the rules couldn't be any more clear. There's two sections in particular I want to show to you. Hair adornments, including beads, may be worn by high school soccer players beginning next fall, provided they are secured in a bun and do not prevent a safety hazard to the player, teammates, or opponents. No body jewelry includes earrings, belly rings, bracelets, watches, necklaces. It also includes pieces such as barrettes, bobby pins, and hair beads. So in general, you can't wear the hair beads. Period, point blank, end of sentence. Starting next fall, apparently you can, as long as they're secured and covered up. So what the referee is doing, and I don't know when this rule book is dated, is making sure they're covered up completely. That is what is being asked of these girls, and apparently that's too much. Apparently that's evil white racism, and apparently to huge portions of the country, that is something that makes him deserving of this ongoing harassment campaign from these mothers who think that, again, it's the greatest civil rights issue ever. It's like literacy tests from voting, and then not letting your kids injure other people's kids with beads in their hair. It's like, those are right there equivalent. As you could tell, I have absolutely no sympathy at all whatsoever for the people behind the camera. There was one person who seemed to be a little bit more reasonable, and I think her kid actually covering them up to an extent where he was saying that hers were fine and that the other girl was an issue is reflective of the fact that she was more reasonable. But this person behind the camera, she was trying to be antagonistic. She's lying. She's trying to paint this person as a racist, and it's all to elevate herself, because in reality, she cares way more about her own personal victimhood than actually having her kid play soccer. So what I would do if I were the league is I would promote this referee. I would ban these parents, specifically the one behind the camera, from the league forever, in perpetuity. You can't play anymore. And then that would be a wrap. That's how we would deal with it. Your kid, you know what? She can still come to the soccer games, but you're banned from the arena completely. Get the hell out of here. You're not welcome here. You're a trash person. You do not deserve to enter the field. You made this whole scene in front of these kids all to forge yourself and not follow the rules. And again, demand apparently the natural right that's being denied to you ever since the slavery days of being able to injure a kid by slapping their eyes with beads on a soccer field in a little girl's soccer game. Anyway, those are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like the video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on all my social media, support me via the support links in the description box of this video. This has been me talking about the thing. Till next time.